know that earlier that both you and the WFP chief tweeted that you've lost contact with your colleagues, your teams in Gaza. How about now? Did you manage to reach out to them, and how's the situation there?
Thank you very much. It took us 36 hours to actually reach each one of them. They are safe, accounted for, but I have to say that it's a very difficult situation that they are in. Many of them are displaced. Many of them lost their properties, their houses. Many of them lost family members. So it's not an easy situation for them, but a lot of them, they wake up in the morning from wherever shelter they are. They're displaced like everyone else, but they're eager to work and see how they can support people. So it's a very difficult situation for them, but these are our heroes.
Yeah, and we know that starting from October the 21st, trucks started to enter Gaza. So far, how many WFP trucks have entered Gaza, and what are the main items on the trucks? How many people have received the supplies?
Yeah, so it's like we say, drop in the ocean. So far, 12 trucks entered for WFP. That represents less than 4% of all the commodities that are needed to enter into Gaza, because the number of people is increasing them that are in need of food. It includes mainly ready-to-eat food, canned food, high-energy biscuits that people can consume on the go, because we cannot enter normal commodities because of the lack of fuel or cooking gas at the moment. So we're distributing it at shelters where there's limited facilities, it's overcrowded, and at the same time we started today actually with community assistance, where we are going to the people in the communities and making sure that we're giving them food assistance.
So how many are still in urgent need?
Everyone. So all the commodities that have arrived is basically distributed immediately. That's not something sustainable. If we want to reach the 1.1 million that WFP is planning to reach for now, we need at least 40 trucks of food every day. So that's why I'm saying it's very, very much limited, the amounts, and we need to really scale it up.
Yeah, and we understand that it's not easy to get these trucks into Gaza, but what is the major hold-up? What is the major hold-up on this?
I think it's a number of things, and this is where we're telling everyone that it's all political, the rest is technical. So for us, we're ready. There are obstacles, of course, on the ground, but we need the countries and the member states to really engage in finding a long-term solution for this, because it's not something sustainable. With the needs and how much the needs are growing in Gaza, we need to make sure that we have a sustained and scaled up number of trucks that are going in. With the current number of trucks, it's not going to be enough to feed the 1.1 million people.
Yeah, and as Israel expanded its ground incursion, it also said that it will allow more humanitarian assistance into southern Gaza as a way to encourage people to move from north to south. But in the meantime, it also said that it will not allow fuel into Gaza, because Israel believes that the fuel will not go to the people. It will go to Hamas and be used as their own supplies to fight against Israel. So what's your take on this?
So fuel is the lifeline for any humanitarian assistance that will go into Gaza at the moment. I'll give you just a couple of examples. Bakeries, they cannot function without the fuel. The water desalination plants cannot function without fuel. Even the trucks that are coming from Egypt side and then have to be offloaded in the Gazan side and then taken to our warehouses or to the distribution points requires fuel. So without the fuel, it's going to be impossible. And what we're trying to say to everyone, we're working based on the humanitarian principles that governs us as humanitarian agencies. And we need to make sure that we're able to reach the people wherever they are, wherever there is needs. And that is why we're really advocating for a number of things. Even as WFP, we're saying we need fuel, we need water, we need medical supplies, and we need food to enter Gaza, because one or the other is not going to be something that is sustainable to support the needs of the people.
And also, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu announced that now the military has opened a second stage war against Hamas, and it will be long and hard. So in the long run, what kind of food crisis this war will bring to Gaza Strip?
So what we're saying now is, from the data that we have and the situation on the ground, we're already at the threat of starvation. We're at the threat of dehydration. We're at the threat of people not eating healthy food, and that would have health consequences. The rainy season haven't started yet. It's on the doors now. So imagine the catastrophe that we will see at the shelters. One shelter, just to give you an example, where many of my colleagues have actually had to escape to, includes 25,000 people that are displaced. It has 8 toilets. So you can imagine what does that mean from a hygiene perspective, and if rain comes, what would happen. So we might be looking at a disease, infectious diseases that could spread in the Gaza Strip if the situation is not controlled and humanitarian assistance is not entered into Gaza. So that's the real concerns that we're really worried about.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, so far what have been sent to Gaza is far from enough. And also UN said that it needs about 100 trucks of aid entering Gaza on a daily basis. So what do you think the international society can do to speed up the entry of all these humanitarian assistance?
So we're ready. That's what we're telling everyone. But we need 3 things, and these things are really essential for us. We need access into Gaza, so that allows a steady and continuous flow of humanitarian assistance to get into Gaza Strip. We need access for our partners and our staff to be able to move in Gaza to make sure that they're able to reach the people wherever they are. And we need to make sure that access is guaranteed to protect the people who are going to those humanitarian or service facilities to receive the assistance without the fear. If we continue giving assistance without really a continuous and a scaled up approach, people will always be scared that this might be the last time they would have food or the last time they would have water. And that's the main risk that we are trying to mitigate at the moment, which is once there is a continuous and steady flow of goods entering into Gaza, people would start calming down, knowing that the international community is there to support them, to avoid the situation that we've seen in the last 2 days. Look at the bakeries, for example. Bakeries, to me, is a very good example how people were organized, even during in the last couple of days. But I think we would see them struggling to actually get a loaf of bread. Many of them stand for hours trying to secure a bag of bread. Many of them are going back home or to their shelter without that bag. So it's going to be difficult for them if they need to feed their kids. We're looking at it also from our operation. When we started the support 48 hours after the escalation, we were working with 23 bakeries as WFP, contracting 23 bakeries, sourcing bread to almost 98 shelters. In the last couple of days, of course, when mobile services went down, we couldn't reach any bakery, we couldn't reach the shelters. But yesterday, for example, 1 bakery only is functioning. And that is either because of lack of fuel or lack of water or lack of wheat flour. That is not going to be enough to support 600,000 people that are staying at the shelters at the moment. So we're letting people down as humanitarian partners, but we're trying our best to advocate to allow us to have that access that is required to make sure that we reach them.